Hello there, I hope everybody's alright. And here we are in Pune, India, at the IAPAR Festival. And I'm reviewing the first show for Fringe Review, which is titled, I gotta read this, Agleyum, Cliyopatrayum, which is this show. And this is the official program of the festival I hold in my hands. And it's a show that was on stage yesterday, the 10th of December. The festival is on until the 15th of December. If you want to read the full review, I invite you to visit fringereview.co.uk, and also there's a link on the description of this video. But in any case, just a few words, as some images from the show will be edited in this video. It was quite an experience. Something I can add from the review I wrote is this. This was a particular show which kind of blends Indian mystical tradition with modern storytelling in a way, but based on two old stories. One is a legend, Lithuanian legend, of which I was not aware, by the way. And the other one is the famous story, of course, of Cleopatra. Two female stories. But once again, I invite you to read the review. I don't like to duplicate content, so to speak. What was really engaging in the show, I think, was the performance of the actress. The fact that there was this blend of Indian mystical tradition in a way, Indian dance, a strong corporeal performance that was really depicting emotions in the way they should be depicted, that is to say, at an unconscious level. And also it was a hybrid show when we speak about language. It was played in the official language of Kerala, this region in the south of India, and about 20% of it was in English. And amazing enough, most of the audience in Pune could not understand the content of the dialogue. And because the India is such a a kaleidoscope of many languages and traditions and so on and so forth. So in a way, when you sit in front, when two Indians sit in front of each other, they have to first of all deciding which language they're going to speak, and that makes it even more mystical in a way, because as an audience member, you were not invited to understand really at an intellectual level, frontal lobe, so to speak, what was happening, but rather just absorb what was happening on the stage. Both the music, the visuals, the lighting, everything was kind of new to me. And also, just to finish, at the opposite sides of the stage, there were two painters. And this company, I'm sorry, I gotta read the name again, because I will not remember it, Locadami, and from Kochi, which is the biggest city in this region, Kerala, always asks, wherever they're performing, to have two artists from the location where they are performing. So if they were performing in Germany, there would be two Germans, but in this case, there were two artists from Pune, to actually paint during the show, do a spontaneous painting and based on what they feel during the performance. So that was something I'd never seen before, and it really, struck me. Overall, a very pleasant performance, experimental theater. That's what the director of the company said, but I would say it's already beyond experimental in a way. It is, for a Western mind like mine, quite a mind trip, and there is strong symbolism, especially the figure of the snake, as the dancer at the end basically engages in a sort of snake dance and destroys a painting made of sand, colored sand, which depicts two snakes. And this is part of a ritual tradition in Kerala. And two things, that I think I would have liked to see. First of all, it's a shame we did not have time as audience members to speak, to interview really the painters, because that would be very interesting just to know what they felt during the performance. Also because these paintings they have a meaning somehow. I mean, they came from the unconscious, and I'd be very curious to know how they felt. In a way, we project ourselves into these two artists that actually are painting these two canvases. And the second thing is, I quite like the fact that text was not important, that there were no subtitles or anything like that. And that's the third time in my life where I find myself watching a show without subtitles. Actually, one of these 3 times I refused to watch the subtitles because the performance of the actors, there was a show in Chinese, and it was the brothers Karamazov represented in Chinese at the Shanghai Academy in China. The performance was so good that I wanted to watch the actors. It's just like, and if you're watching subtitles, it just distracts you completely for what is happening on the stage. And I must say, I still remember that play that was played in Chinese still today, just because it was a great performance. It really was. So same story here. I would add that in this case, the fact that we do not have to actually understand every single word just made it more and more and more interesting, because at the core this was a physical theater show, and I must say the dancer really did a great job. One thing I would add, it's there's always room for improvement in any show, and my take is this one. Basically, there are 2 stories in this show: the story of Cleopatra and the story of Agleyum. I hope the pronunciation is correct. It's a Lithuanian story, which I didn't know, by the way. But I think dramaturgically, to me, it also makes sense that the show is in 2 languages, because the actress spoke for 20% of the time in English, especially when Cleopatra speaks to Marcus Antonius. Why is that? Well, because I'm sure Cleopatra would speak with Marcus Antonius in Latin, whereas in her dialogue, or in her emotional dialogue, will be in Egyptian, ancient Egyptian, you name it. So I think that's something it can still be explored in this play. So using English when Cleopatra speaks to Mark Antony, and then transition to her inner conversation or inner dialogue in her own language. Each and every one of us as a human being has an inner voice, and that kind of sometimes is triggered by emotions, and it's chaotic. The Ulysses by James Joyce, there's no rational, and so on and so forth. And I think that can be further explored. Having said that, a truly enjoyable show, and that was the first one of IAPAR 2024. I invite you to read the review. And having said that, log on to fringereview.com.uk, and to all of you guys, wherever you are, love theater and enjoy life. Ciao, ciao.